All right, good evening. This is Bronsons by any means necessary fantasy sports talk for Monday, August 24th. Not a whole lot. I don't have any stories to tell today. Got a lot of sports and stuff to talk, so we're just going to jump right into it. Bad news about Travis Etienne today. Very promising young rookie running back for the Jaguars has a Liz Frank injury, likely out for the season, so that means James Robinson's stock has just gone way up. And we're going to talk more about James Robinson later in my draft Sherpa perfect draft, perfect fantasy football draft, which I'm going to do here in this video today. I'm excited about that. We'll get to my spikes and yikes again, probably starting that tomorrow, but first I want to get my perfect draft out of the way. A couple of good day for streaming pitchers tomorrow on Wednesday. So I got four for you. Starting with the first one, Tarek Skubal of the Tigers at the Cardinals. Tarek Skubal has looked pretty good most of the year. Struggled a bit in July, but he's been getting an extra day of rest here this month and probably will for the rest of the season. And it's really benefited him greatly. This will be his third start of the month now. His last two starts in August have been pretty good. He's facing a decent Cardinals team, but I think Skubal has shown throughout his career that he's a guy that we can trust in a game like this, especially with that extra rest. Tyler Gilbert, the young guy for the Diamondbacks, who threw a no-hitter in his first career start. He'll never top that. He probably should have retired, but he's still pitching, and good for him. He's gonna hopefully have a long, successful career. But he's facing the Pirates, a team that nobody fears, and every pitcher should have a good day against. So he's definitely in the streaming tier. And a couple of young guys facing each other, a couple of young rookies who are facing each other. Josiah Gray of the Nationals at the Marlins. Josiah Gray, it's a very bright future for the Nationals or wherever he should end up. Lots of strikeouts there. And for the Marlins, we got Edward Cabrera making his major league debut. He has been dominant throughout the minor league season this year. We're going to see if that can translate to the major leagues. The Nationals are one of the better matchups for him on paper that he could hope to get. So buy stock in Edward Cabrera for tomorrow for sure. Anyway, getting into the perfect draft. I'm going to be your fantasy football draft Sherpa as I guide you up the mountain to fantasy football success. Right, but first, a couple of my draft rules. Most of the draft rules from last year, if you watched that video or if you want to go back and find that video, still apply. Even though I am breaking a few of them, I am prioritizing tight end this year. I am, I did just reach for a kicker actually in my draft earlier today, just because I just felt my team was just in a really good place. Everybody was going quarterback early. So I stocked up on, skill position players. I felt, I already had the quarterback I wanted anyways that I waited on. So yeah, I went kicker in I think it was round 13 or something. Yeah, I had the number one pick, so I had the turn. So on the turn, yeah, I think it was round 13. I went kicker. And you know what? It was. I don't feel shame about it. I feel good about it. I think I saw other guys taking kickers, and they weren't even taking the top kickers off the board. So I was like, okay, well, these guys are going to draft like idiots and take the fourth and fifth best kicker off the board. I'm going to take the number one kicker off the board. So I did, and then I ended up still getting the two defenses I wanted in the round 14 and 15, I think it was. So, I really feel good about this team. So that means we'll probably be 7 and 10 and miss the playoffs. We'll see though. But yeah, so the rule, the guideline I should say that I'm making for this year is that you should wait till round 11 to take a quarterback. That gives you 10 rounds, 10 chances to stock up on the skill positions. Gives you a chance to get 2 tight ends, which should be a priority for you this year. Gives you a chance to get 5 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 4 wide receivers, what have you, however you want to do, 4-4-2, however you want to do it. It gives you a chance to load up on the skill positions and still get real quality quarterbacks in round 11 and 12, especially if you're on the turn where you can get 2 of them one right after the other. Excellent. That's my advice for you, because we're going to talk mention later, I'm going to give you a good, very solid quality list of quarterbacks you're going to be able to get outside of the top 100 picks. What else do I have to say? I know it's hard to pass on those elite guys at the top, especially if there's a guy that you really like. I'm not gonna name drop anyone. I'm not gonna drop any names because that would be a strategic advantage for anybody I'm playing against who sees this video. But there is one guy who I'm very much in love with in my drafts this year, and I haven't really been getting him much because I'm trying to stick to the guidelines. I'm trying to stick to the strategy. I'm trying to build a successful team and not just take guys I like. That's a big problem for a lot of people. They fall in love with names. They fall in love with players. You gotta fall in love with the value. You gotta fall in love with the positional options that are available to you, the way the board plays out for you. For instance, if you really fall in love with one particular wide receiver, you're going to take that one particular wide receiver at perhaps the detriment of your team, when maybe there's 5 or 6 other quality wide receivers who you could, wait on around and get whichever one falls to you in the next round. It's just an example, maybe not a good one, but it is an example. You got to fall in love with the value. So we'll talk about the quarterbacks that are falling. And another thing, Deshaun Watson, I know he may not play this year. Right now he's listed as questionable. Right now he has a projection of 0 points. It's very possible he doesn't play, but you want to be the guy who gets him at the end of the draft in case he does play, because that's going to be a steal of epic historical proportions if you can get Deshaun Watson, especially if you're the guy who waits on the quarterback till round 11. And you end up with, a Tom Brady and a Deshaun Watson. You're loaded there if Watson plays, right? So, and that's after you waited till round 11 to take your starter, and then you drafted Deshaun Watson later. I mean, that's pretty crazy. But without further ado, let's get into a perfect draft based on me and my, experience in drafting this year, my personal opinions and stuff like that. So, without further ado, I didn't pick a random slot. I picked a slot that I thought was going to be the most ideal spot to draft from this year, so I could formulate my perfect draft. So here it is. I picked the 9 hole in a 10-team standard league, half PPR. I picked the 9 spots. You get 9, the 12, 29, 32, so on in a snake draft. So at 9, you're getting Travis Kelce. It's possible he doesn't fall to you at 9, but through the drafting that I've been seeing, the mock drafting, Kelce is falling to you at 9. Snatch him up at 9, because at 12, on the turn, you're going to have a lot of quality options at running back, most likely. The options, the names: Jonathan Taylor, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Antonio Gibson, even possibly Austin Eckler will be available to you at 12. If Austin Eckler falls to you at 12, you got to be gobbling him up there. And maybe you might even probably take him. You probably should take him at 9 and pass on Kelce. But really, honestly, you should take Kelce at 9. Solidify that tight end spot so you don't have to worry about it again throughout the entire draft, unless you really want to add another guy later, which I'm recommending you do if you continue to pay attention to this. So at 12, you got 4, possibly 5 quality running back options. Even Najee Harris, the rookie from Pittsburgh, is going to be there, but he is a little bit of a reach at the top of the second. My personal choice at 12 would be Nick Chubb. So you get Travis Kelce, week 12 bye, Nick Chubb, week 13 bye. They're your bookings to your roster. Now at 29, those of you who know me know that I hate the Chicago Bears, and I very rarely have anything good to say about the Chicago Bears, the Chicago toilet seats. I hate them. I don't know why. I hate them more than the Packers. I don't know why. I hate the Bears, but I hate the Bears. I'm a Vikings fan. I hate the Bears. But the fact is, Allen Robinson is a stud fantasy wide receiver. He's been a top 10 wide receiver almost every year of his career, even without good quality quarterback play. I see that trend not changing this year. He's playing for a contract. He wants to get paid. He's very disgruntled with his financial situation right now. I don't blame him. I think he's going to have a monster year. He's madly disrespected in every single fantasy draft of his entire career. He's the most disrespected fantasy player I think I've seen in the last decade anyways. But Allen Robinson needs to be your pick at 29. He's your wide receiver 1. Okay? Then at 32, you're going to have no shortage of options again at running back. You're going to have Miles Sanders, David Montgomery, James Robinson possibly going to be there for you. Although his ADP is going to skyrocket now that Travis Etienne is out for the year. But if James Robinson should be available to you there at 32, obviously that's the choice that you want to make. But if not, Miles Sanders, I think, is a very good quality guy to have. I think he's going to have a bounce back year. So Miles Sanders by week 14, Allen Robinson by week 10. So far you got 4 guys, all different bye weeks, all at the second half of the season. James Robinson, if he's there, by week 7. So still 4 guys, all different bye weeks. At 49, now you're going to have some real high quality wide receiver 2s here. Julio Jones, DJ Moore, I'm seeing them fall for whatever reasons. Julio Jones, because now he's the number 2 option in Tennessee, they suspect, although I think he's a better wide receiver than A.J. Brown. So Julio Jones can very possibly be the number 1 wide receiver in Tennessee. You're getting him just inside the top 50. He's your wide receiver 2. You take him, right? If he's there. DJ Moore, also another guy I'm really high on. Both Julio Jones and DJ Moore have a week 13 bye. So yes, you're going to have that bye week problem with Nick Chubb, but that either one of those guys, you can't pass on that talent and that upside at pick 49. And at pick 52, again, no shortage of running back options for your flex. Your running back 3, Chris Carson, Josh Jacobs, Darrell Henderson, the top 3 options there. Can't go wrong with any of them, right? But my personal preference at that spot would be to take Josh Jacobs. Now you've got week 8 bye there. You got 3 stud running backs, 2 stud wide receivers. Now you're moving on to the 6th round. At pick 69 here, again, running backs. You can go running back 4, possible flex, Myles Gaskin, Damian Harris, all guys who possibly on a less superior team without this advice from this guy here could be a flex or even running back 2. They're going to be your running back 4. I'm personally not a fan of Myles Gaskin, but the fact of the matter is he's going to get the vast majority of the reps in Miami in an offense that should be quite a lot better than it was last year. So personally, I would go Damian Harris there, but I won't fault you if you're going to go Myles Gaskin. Also, both have a week 14 bye, so you're still good, still solid. All 4 of your running backs now, different bye week. At pick 672, here's where you're going to do your little bit of reaching, but it's not really a reach. And think about it. Deebo Samuel or Michael Thomas, the wide receiver, both have a week 6 bye. The only reason Michael Thomas is at this spot is because he's hurt. If he's healthy, he's going to be a massive steal. I've been grabbing Michael Thomas in almost every draft that I'm in because of the price. The price point, it can't be beat. Plus, you draft him, you immediately move him to your IR. Now you've got an open roster spot for somebody else that you missed in the draft that's still available to you, or a backup defense, or a Deshaun Watson, right? You only drafted 1 quarterback. So, yes, either one of those guys, amazing upside at that spot. Can't pass. There's your wide receiver 3. Okay, pick 89. I did not realize this video was going to take this long. At pick 89. Now, here, again, personal preference. I'm looking at a backup tight end to Travis Kelce, even though I probably won't need it. But, if you have a quality tight end, a starting tight end, that means one of your opponents doesn't, correct? So you want to grab one. Noah Fant is falling to this spot at 89. I would be grabbing him. Week 11 bye. So he's coming off a bye when Travis Kelce's going on a bye. That's a big, maybe not to you, but to me that's an advantage because he just had 2 weeks off. So he should be fully healthy 100%, right? So no Fant. Also Dallas Goedert. Current ADP is a little bit of a reach at 89, but it's worth it to me because he's your backup tight end, right? You're playing with house money at that point because you have Travis Kelce. And Dallas Goedert, we've seen him be a tight end 1 before. I see no reason why he can't do it again if he's healthy. At 92, again, No shortage of running back options. You got Raheem Mostert, Zach Moss, Kenyon Drake, Melvin Gordon. Depending on who you've taken earlier, you might want to handcuff your guy, Josh Jacobs, with Kenyon Drake, Javonte Williams with Melvin Gordon. Zach Moss, standalone. He should be the primary guy in Buffalo. But at that point, do you like his upside? Do you have a Week 7 bye week problem? You very well may. If you look at the bye weeks, Week 7's a big one. So you may pass on Zach Moss. My personal preference here is to go Raheem Mostert, go with that Week 6 bye, and then try to get Trey Sermon later on in the draft. Get yourself 6 running backs and solidify yourself with that San Francisco backfield. 109 now. Now you're looking for the quarterbacks. Here's some of the guys that you're going to have available to you at this spot. Ryan Tannehill, Matthew Stafford, Tom Brady, Jalen Hurts. I mean, come on. If you get 2 of those guys, Joe Burrow also. So you got 5. If you get 2 of those 5 guys, you're set. You don't need the Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers. You got those guys are gonna. Ryan Tannehill has been the quarterback on the most fantasy champions in the last 2 years. You know why? Because he's getting disrespected in drafts. He's getting disrespected again this year. If you can get Ryan Tannehill, which is my choice at 109, and then Matthew Stafford at 112, I think Matthew Stafford's going to have a great year in Sean McVay's offense. So you're set there, right? You don't even need Deshaun Watson later. At 129, now you're looking at young wide receivers with upside. You got Marquez Callaway, who's my choice there to pair with Michael Thomas. You got Mecole Hardman, who should have an expanded role in Kansas City. You got Darnell Mooney, who possibly, depending on the quarterback situation in Chicago, could have a breakout year. And Michael Pittman of the Colts, who many are pegging to have a breakout year this year. If he's healthy, he's probably a steal at that spot. Depending on who's there, I'm probably going to be getting my wide receiver 4 there. At 132, now I'm looking at defenses. 132, at this point, only maybe Tampa, Pittsburgh, maybe Baltimore has been picked at this point. If Baltimore's still there, that's the number 3 defense. You're probably going to want to grab them, right? Especially, you just want to do that. Or the Niners, number 4 defense, Bills. One of those, couple of those top 5 defenses should be there. You're going to want to grab one at 132. Now we're coming into 149. I'm looking at a backup defense at this point. Browns, Colts, Washington football team, possibly Rams, Saints. I'm grabbing one of those so I can solidify myself with 2 probable top 10 defenses and not have to worry about it. Not have to worry about streaming there for the rest of the season. And at 152, obviously, you're going to take whatever kicker is there, whichever personal preference kicker you want, because kickers are irrelevant and you shouldn't be drafting them before the last round. So that's the perfect draft. And I guess if you're drafting at 152, so you're at the top of the second round, so you should have, because you're not at the end of the second round, you don't want to be at the end of that round, because then you're getting stuck with like bottom barrel, top 10, 12 kickers. If you're at the top of the second round, you're getting top 4, 5, 6, 7 kickers. So you're getting better quality options. You're going to have more choices at that point. So that's the Draft Sherpa. By any means necessary. Perfect draft. I will do these spikes and yikes tomorrow, starting with defense, special teams most likely. Have a blessed day. Peace, love, and nacho fries. Good luck in your drafts, my friends.